Okay,
All right.
let's start quick.
So Emmett, if you won the final HOH, who were you actually going to take to the final two?
There's nothing I wanted more, to walk out there with Jill. I tried all day to dumb it down to Gary of how I was going to, I couldn't have the heart to tell her, so I was maybe going to throw it. I wanted him to back off on it as much as he could, but it sucks. I wanted that, there's nothing I wanted more than take Jill to the end with me.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously many people thought, that you had the game won when you were in the final three with Gary and Jill. So did you ever think when you evicted Lala that Gary would end up evicting you given the opportunity?
A lot of people keep saying that, we aligned with Gary, but I never aligned with Gary. The only reason we took Gary over Lala was because Lala could have stood a strong opportunity of beating Jill in endurance,
yep.
where Gary didn't really stand. I would go toe-to-toe with him in a physical any day. And as soon as if Gary had dropped to that endurance, I would have dropped right afterwards,
yeah.
and I would have been happy to take him on in a physical.
Okay. You were such a great game player because of how people just seem to feed you so much information. How do you think you were able to make people do that without making it so obvious?
Well, I got put on the block the first night, and I realized that, there's a chance I'm not even going to get to compete anymore, so you really have to look at it. Physical competitions only do so much for you in this game.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to make it to the end, I'm going to have a huge strategy game. And I looked around the room, and what I saw was tons of big personalities.
Yeah.
And I could see people cutting each other off left, right, and center.
Mm-hmm.
They were just talking, and nothing. So for me, I was like, I'm going to use my advantage, and I'm going to sit there and talk, and not talking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sit there and let people talk, and
mm-hmm.
I'm just going to listen because, when they do that, they give you information,
yeah.
and then they tell you stuff that they shouldn't, and then you don't have to give them anything back,
mm-hmm.
because you're just sitting there. All they want to do is talk. These people, a lot of people are on here just for the fame, and they just want to talk with themselves all day.
Yeah.
So I was able to, they would tell me stuff they never should have,
mm-hmm.
and because of that, they felt they had a bond with me, and they, I trust Emmett so much. He's so nice because he just listens, and I just took it all in, and that's one of the ways that I was able to maneuver for the game and find out who was best to align with and when to get rid of people.
Exactly like how Dan did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Dan, how did you feel about his visit personally and game wise? Do you think he helped you out or?
When Dan first came in the house, I played a pretty solid game. That I know Dan. He's a very smart guy, and him coming in that game wasn't going to benefit me in a way that I saw. Like he was going to, I had molded people's minds to the way that I wanted them to think, and if anything, he was going to open up their eyes, and that wasn't going to be good for me. But the experience with Dan was amazing. Just to get to sit down and talk with a guy is an amazing opportunity in itself. He is the best Big Brother player ever to play the game, because he has won, and then he just came second, and he probably should have won. He should have won the second one. So there's nothing more that I wanted was to walk out in that finale last night as the winner and shake his hand and sit up there with him. But as I say, I took a little more heat maybe than he did in his season because I was a physical threat, and it was a tough one because as I say, it came down to I lost the game to a 50-50, and it is what it is. But I couldn't have played it any better, I don't think. But as I said, I just had to give myself week in, week out the best opportunity to win, and that's what I tried to do.
Perfect. So it seems like you were behind a lot of Alec and Peter's decisions. You were behind Jillian's decisions. Were you this year's puppet master?
You know what? As I say, one of my strategies in this game was to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't talk a lot, but when I talk, I make sure that it was something important, and when I talk, people listened. So I felt, people respected what I said, and, as I said, I took information in from everyone. So I was able to, put together things that other people couldn't put together. So when I came up with scenarios, this is what we should do, people listened, and, if you walked through the game, I put in scenarios that worked to my advantage every time. And, as I say, I don't know what the show portrayed, but they can say what they want. But, as I said, I was in there for solely, you know, it's an independent game. It's an independent game, and I was making decisions based on the best thing for myself, but second that, best for Jill. It was me and Jill the whole way, and yeah, I don't want to take credit to call myself the puppet master, but I did pull the strings a lot.
You did pull the strings.
Yeah.
You were the puppet master, whether you want to say it or not.
Yeah, if you guys want to give me that name, I'll have you. I don't want to give myself that name, but if there were strings to be
then. Yeah.
strings to be pulled, then I made sure that I was the one controlling them.
Good.